My God! My God!
Let me do something again.
Now, we're pleased, pleasantly surprised actually, that this story somehow partially got out there. And as you already know, if you've seen the other video, we basically talk about how only part of this was actually broadcast in the New York area on CBS. On CBS, they had some plane incident that they interrupt this particular update concerning Whitney's goddaughter. But it's interesting the half of the story that comes out, which really shows that Whitney wasn't really so much planning so much to go back in the music business or industry in the way that has been made to be seen, but she was actually planning something on a spiritual level. And we already informed ones and ones in the previous vids that we did, right after it was announced, that there's some connection with her killing and her growing in consciousness of her roots, of who she is, and the fact that she would be a sign to a whole generation to reconsider the claims of we as the once lost but now found Beta Israel. So here we get to see some video footage that almost we will have probably never seen before, except for the extraordinary circumstances of Whitney Houston's death. But I think we really need to put it in the terms of murder, and not just an individual, but we're speaking about the so-called illuminati, or what they call the so-called illuminati, falsely called illuminati. Now, one would say, well, did the illuminati kill her, and why? I mean, what would be the big deal about that? Those are people who obviously don't understand the half of the story that hasn't been told. Now, it's very clear that Israel, the experience that Whitney Houston had in Israel, had a definitive effect on her life, you know what I mean, which shows a black person, a regular African American, aside of ourselves, that we were told, even from the pulpit and the churches, was not supposed to be. We are just so-called, according to the false preaching, a lot of nigger churches, the Negro churches tell us that we're just Gentiles, so-called saved by grace. Yes, we are saved by grace, but we are the once lost but now found Beta Israel. So to know that the late Nippy or Whitney Houston had such plans, and for them actually to reveal this in this insider edition report, and then to have this report intervene or cut across, by emergency broadcast. And we're speaking about February 27th. It's Monday, February 27th, 2012, when this particular, the B-roll, we're rolling the B-roll right now, so you can see some of the shots, and we probably play in the beginning of it, so you see in the beginning of it just the portion and where they edit it and where they cut across it. You understand? To show that she had spiritual plans of getting her spiritual house in order, but somehow that was cut short. Now, one thing or the other is true. Either what so-called Clive Davis, and those so-called knew her best and blah 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 blah, either what they say, that she's about to get back in the music business industry, so forth and so on, and she's planning all these either tours or this or that, or it's like the goddaughter says, that she was planning to return to Israel, and to be baptized in the River Jordan, and to also bring some of the significant folks in her life, so significant people, family, and others. And just interesting that Ray J was named in that. Now, there's more to this story. There's much more to the story, but we just want to kind of circle the wagons on this particular news right here, because first of all, it confirms exactly what we said from the very beginning. I know some people probably turn to it, and we're talking about Whitney and Israel and this Israelite stuff and black Hebrews. Some people are like, oh, whatever. You understand? It's not about that. It's because she's doing drugs and she's crackhead. You know what I mean? And then you really get to recognize that she was trying to improve her life. She was trying to come out of Babylon, but she had become a virtual cash cow, a golden calf in a sense. And we can see this immediately right now. Now that she's gone, her music is shooting back up to the top of the charts, or at least people are buying it a lot. It's selling a lot of money. They say, well, the daughter Bobby Christina. We really have to pray for Bobby Christina, because a lot of folks obviously in the circle know about her plans to return to Israel and to get baptized, but the only one that's really talking about this is the goddaughter. Some even say that, and we don't want to put this on the goddaughter, but they're probably going to go there with it too, that since she has this other side of Whitney Houston that some of us already saw, trying like a butterfly. It was like that butterfly that's trying to get out of that cocoon so it can, that caterpillar, get out of the cocoon so it can become that butterfly. But someone, and when we say someone, we're speaking about a kind of a corporate entity. Illuminati, if you want to call them, the Hollywood Illuminati, or the secret cabal, or it could be the Church of Satan, or whoever. You understand? Because we really need to investigate this point. But here's what I'm saying, is that what we hear is that she was going to do one thing. She was planning to do one thing. Now we hear that she was actually planning to do something else, to return to Israel and to be baptized, and obviously spend time with this black Hebrew African Israelite community, headed by our beloved brethren Ben Israel. And you see in some of the clips, you see where she greets him, she kisses him, and you see Bobby and her. And in fact, where they edited this in the broadcast that we got to see, that means everybody in the New York area who's watching is like, what? Wow. So they cut it across with this so-called plane incident. There's no blood, you understand? There's no one hurt. There's no terrorism proclamation or nothing like that. The plane, thank God, landed all right, but they had to cut into this particular story. They cut into this particular story. Now, some would say, oh, that's just a coincidence. You're reading too much in this. But really, I have to ask whether those who think that we're reading too much into this, I have to ask whether you can read or not. Whether you can see or not, if you're not blind, or if you're not an asset or an agent, you understand, the Illuminati yourself. You're complicit somehow in this whole COINTELPRO, you understand, this Antichrist agenda to stop the rise of the Black Messiah, and moreover to stop the rise of God's people. As soon as God's people are finally looking to their once lost but now found identity. And see, I'm sure this is probably also the case of other artists out there. And even though they may have been into the business or whatever like that, a lot of us believed the dream. We believed the lie, until we got hurt by it, until something woke us up. You know what I'm saying? And it might be more challenging for those who get into the circles like Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown, and other artists, and black folks, black people, lost sheep, but ones who no doubt would embrace their heritage and their spiritual heritage, the divine heritage and their culture, if they only knew. But there most likely are pressures against them. Maybe not overt, but more covert, you see. And we're gonna let this story develop itself, but automatically this is a confirmation. This clip right here is a confirmation of what we said in a couple of the earlier videos right around the time. Go check it out, you understand, on our channel. You understand, we're gonna probably put these things together, you know, in our own investigation, you know, because there's two sides of it. Yes, she went through the whole Metropolis bit. You know, she was in the machine. In fact, the Metropolis movie and Whitney Houston's life, I think there's an interesting parallel and a connection, right there. But what is very clear is that at least it was in her plan and in her intention, and we have a witness, you know, of this. You know, one who was on the inside. Now this confirmed what we say, being on the outside of this, but spiritually in tuning this, you understand? And now you get to see actual evidence, and before you can see the whole thing, they cut it off. Now there might be more to this, which might be even more interesting, but we haven't gotten to see it as of yet. But once again, if you want to see some of the background, you know, the perspective to this, you know, now look over those vids that we put up there previously again, you understand? Then go on the internet and search out some things for yourself, and you will basically get to see this modern, you understand, 21st century of Slick Willie, white supremacy, COINTELPRO, Illuminati conspiracy right here against Whitney Houston, you know. And I mean, it's just so sickening in the sense that folks don't want to get it, don't want to get the truth. But I hope they wake up before it's too late. More to come. Stay tuned. Shalom. Rastafari, Rasia Dinos Tafari, of the line of Judah Society of His Imperial Majesty. Just check this out again, all right?
Last conversation with her goddaughter just hours before she died. Tonight, for the first time, we hear from an insider, Whitney's goddaughter, about the woman she shared so much of her life with. Let's go in depth. You talked to Whitney on the day she passed away. What was Whitney's mindset on the day she died?
Whitney was very happy. She was talking to me about makeup. I set her up with a really good makeup artist, and she was like, "Mom, you have to take a nap." And I said, no, he needs to be there at 5:30. She said, no, 6 is fine. She said, 6 is fine, Mom has to take a nap. And I said, nope, 5:30. So she said, 5:45. So I said, okay. She said, just make sure he's here. She said, check on Jay, because he was coming over. And I said, okay. She said, okay, baby. And she said, all right, love you. She hung up.
Singer Whitney Houston is dead.
Whitney's goddaughter, Brandy Burnside Boyd, revealing to me what was on Whitney's mind the day she passed away, and what her godmother had planned for the future.
She said, you and Max, my husband, me and Jay, Bobby Chrissy, my brother, my sister, and Uncle Ray, she said, Uncle Ray, are going to go to Israel. We need to get into the holy water so that nothing can harm us and touch us for our new journey.
Whitney was baptized in the Holy Land back in 2003 with husband Bobby Brown and daughter Bobby Christina by her side. It was all captured by... From CBS 2 News, this is breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Christine Johnson in the CBS 2 newsroom. We're interrupting the Insider right now to give you some breaking news from Newark Airport. A United Airlines plane has made an emergency landing there. The pilot reporting smoke. Chopper 2HG is over the scene. You can clearly see the large emergency response on the ground. We can tell you that the airport is closed as a result of this. Jim Smith is over the scene. Jim, tell us what you see.
Well, Christine, as you can see, that is the airplane, a United Airlines flight here at Newark Airport. It's difficult to tell from our vantage point whether the plane came to rest on the runway or the taxiway. It does appear that the nose...